invite, introduce Italy's ambassador to India, His Excellency Antonio Bartoli. Antonio Bartoli has been here now for, I guess, 1.5 years, a little more than that. But he's probably one of the most talked about ambassadors here. For, of course, his wisdom, but also for his wine and pasta parties and all of that. He headed, to give you his brief bio, he headed the Office for Relations with Parliament at Italy's Minister for Foreign Affairs. He served as ambassador to Georgia. Before diplomacy, he was a professional journalist and many other things. So I'll keep the intro short and ask him to address, Excellency, 2 questions. One is that when we are talking about this transformative moment, we are using the word summit, which is routinely used as a sort of diplomatic cliche. The leaders meeting is a summit, but this indeed would amount to scaling a new summit.
Thanks for the kind words, and thanks to you, Manish, for hosting this, for conducting this debate, and to Shishir, and to my colleague, who is also a friend. But I would say we talk, and we will talk about the FTA, but this is much more than FTA. I think that India is ever more a priority for Europe, and this is not rhetoric, as is a priority for my country. There are 2 main elements in this, I would say, reliability and trust, and complementarity. You said rightly, Manish, that we are in an era of geopolitical turmoil and predictable unpredictability. Well, in this context, I think the advantage of Europe is of being a reliable partner, consistently working with India on key tracks. Europe's approach is also peer-to-peer. Is a win-win rather than zero-sum game. So, is persuasion and agreement rather than, transactional approach. And so this upcoming summit, of course, we all hope that it will bring the mother of all deals. But in general, it will adopt an agenda that is ambitious, mutually beneficial, and future proven, and covers all the main sectors of interest. That are and this is a strength, the sectors we also, as member states, work on. I said reliability, trust, predictability, and also complementarity, because no deal is good unless it really corresponds to mutual interests. And we have a lot of structural convergences. It's not marginal to remember that we are ancient civilizations. And this favors better understanding with respect to other partners. If you also take one flagship initiative that is not necessarily the object of the summit, but is the object of the partnership, which is the IMEC initiative, which is the Abe said when he created the Indo-Pacific, the convergence of 2 seas. This is the convergence of the Indo-Pacific space and the Mediterranean, which is the cradle of European civilization. So this existed 2,000 years ago. It's not to cite Rome, which is also my city, but it existed when there was Emperor Augustus. And so IMEC is just a revamping in contemporary terms, because its goods at that time was black pepper now it's containers of any good, and also the goods of our century, data, the flux of data between the two basins, because we are also two peninsulas in the respective seas. So India is Europe is India's first trading partner. Is a technology-driven economy, and we want to attract businesses, investments, and talents, and combine European technologies and Indian scale and skills to build integrated and resilient value chains. And we all are witnessing how are badly needed. The size of the Indian economy and also the talent of the workforce makes India a competitive base for producing high-value components and products which can benefit European but global industry in return. Our companies are already here, and I think that the benefit of FTA will be seen also in terms of investment. One can think that is focused on trade, but trade is a driver of investment. So by opening up trade, you will encourage businesses to also invest if they realize that their product sell well. We have already 6,000 companies, European companies here. They directly employ 3 million people and indirectly millions. But we can grow together. Now let me give some reference, but it's not to advertising. It's just to give concrete examples of how the agenda of member states and the agenda of Europe are not disconnected, and so this framework is a multiplier for us. We supported since the beginning the conclusion of the FTA to turn strategic rhetoric into actionable deals. Our Deputy Prime Minister came twice in 8 months, and I would say discreetly, informally, but effectively helped consolidate consensus among the European partners. He's a close friend, for example, of Commissioner Šefčovič. He has been President of the European Parliament. He has been Industry and Transport Commissioner. And many of the initiatives that we have are in parallel, are in line with the European agenda. We both have a joint action plan, Europe with India, and Italy with India. We aim at investing in co-manufacturing, co-design, starting with non-competing areas, and this is the gist of of the approach that has been taken. Let's put aside the irritants of the red lines and let's focus on the convergences to reach a substantive agreement. I mentioned some sectors: waste to energy, renewables, industry and agriculture 4.0, defense, automotive, infrastructure, cultural, for example, technologies, space, innovation, much more. The list is long, and another advantage of Italy as other countries, other European countries, is that, for example, now I can say Italy, I think the industrial system is made up of 90% by small and medium enterprises. I think this is very important for two aspects. First, because even if they are small, they are oftentimes global leaders in their own niche. So they bring interesting technologies. And the second aspect is that I think that India cannot rely only on big guys, both internally and externally. I mean, the conglomerates we all know here at home, but also, the Google, Meta announcing, which is very good. But to have an effective, inclusive economy, a trickle-down effect, you need also the experience of small and medium enterprises. We have some 800 companies here. We set a goal of 20 billion by the end of 2029. We set some financial tools. I think that finance is also very important to support this movement in both directions, and that's why we started a dialogue between the stock exchanges, investment funds, innovation funds, to nurture this. We see a lot of margins for many, and by so doing I can just mention some of the sectors object of the agenda, the European India agenda, for example, circular economy, waste to energy. We have a working group on food processing because precision agriculture, for example, methods to find food waste, to establish a cold chain are very much needed. We support in the green area, let's say, initiatives. We all support initiatives. I speak on behalf of Italy. For example, in International Solar Alliance, we finance some energy centers in sub-Saharan Africa. We collaborate within the Global Biofuel Alliance. We collaborate to the CGII, the Coalition for the Resilience of Infrastructure to Climate Change. We have offered and conducted several capacity building programs throughout the region. There is a lot to do also in infrastructure, digitization, urban mobility, smart cities. There is a lot to do in technology, and from this point of view, India is an incredible partner, incredible India. I mean, in 10 years, 200,000 startups, third country in terms of unicorns, fourth country on the moon. And so we have a dialogue on science, innovation. We are working to set up an Italian innovation center in India to favor talents exchange between universities, research clusters. So we have MOUs on scientific collaboration and researchers' mobility, and so on and so forth. So all this is much more than FTA, and all this is the future. Mutual academic qualification, recognition agreements, tourism, sports. In other words, people-to-people agenda. I think one of the most successful programs in Europe, inside Europe and then outside, because it was exported, is Erasmus. They calculated there are more than 1 million kids born by Erasmus couples. And this is a proof of how these really and concretely helped integration. And we have to do this with India, I think. Open our universities, less tuition fees, H1B much less expensive, and so on and so forth. And believe me, I mean, a high degree of academic programs, and also quality of life, and also similarity in the lifestyle. Space. Okay, space, defense, we are talking about the security agenda. We started a G2G dialogue on space. We brought companies. We will have a reverse mission on space. We adopted an initiative on counter-terrorism financing. We multiplied, which was quite unprecedented, frankly speaking, port calls with our military ships in Indian ports. We did exercise together with the national flag and under the European flag. We, as I said, are natural partners, Augustus, of the IMEC initiative. Yes, there are geopolitical complications, but for example, we will have an initiative mobilizing the private sector of all the countries along the corridor. We are starting procedures to and facilitate B2B in sectors like logistics, digital energy. An Italian company is building the cable underwater, creating a speed highway for data transmission from Genoa to Mumbai and then also eastward in perspective to Singapore. We can work together, and these, once again, I'm giving examples from the Italian perspective, and all I'm saying applies to Europe. We should and we can work more in Africa together, because there are other actors. For example, Italy has it's called Mattei Plan. Mattei was the chair of ENI, the oil and gas giant, that in the 60s had established peer-to-peer relationship with the providers in Africa, not the colonizing attitude as the American Seven Sisters, the big companies. And so we chose this symbol to mean a cooperation framework based on a peer-to-peer approach, worth around, on our side, 8 billion euro, to create partnerships in all sectors, education, agriculture, energy, biotechnology, and much more. And I think India and Italy, but India and Europe should collaborate much more in Africa. You are the flag bearer of the Global South. We have, and the summit will also touch upon that with the MOU on mobility. We have, for example, Italy has a bilateral, as other member states, a bilateral MOU on mobility. This is a great opportunity. It's an opportunity for a country that has wonderful talents, but has between 10 and 12 million that every year knock at the labor market door. So it's not easy to accommodate all of them. And we need, in some sectors, from nurses to engineers. So these are the complementarities. And our relationship is based, to conclude, on a really genuinely strategic complementarity based on reliability, the need to diversify, the need to deepen our understanding based on our ancient past, and also a lot of win-win in the business sector and in the technological sector, which is a powerful engine for, especially for people.
Thank you.